Hello bearded bee people, welcome back to Being KBs. Today I'm here at the home / queen yard shaking packages for mating nukes that I have to populate later today. I've got some cells that are ready to pop. So along with all of that stuff is inspections out here in the main yard, and what that means is a lot of honey box adding and a lot of swarm prep removal or swarm instinct removal. And so that's what I'm dealing with right now. Getting into this colony right over here, start popping it open, looks really, really good. Look at the underside of the top box. And I mean, there's swarm cups or queen cups in all of the hives. I mean, it'd be a real dud of a hive to not have at least some swarm cups on June 6th, which is the date today. So I see those, and as I always do, pull off the side a little bit to see if there's anything going on inside them. And the answer to this one is yes, there are eggs in all of them. So that's a real kind of beginning preparation, obviously. Obviously, the earlier preparation would have been the creation of drones, and then the creation of those swarm cups, and then they go in to lay in those swarm cups. And at that point, the clock on the bomb is ticking down. So me not having the ability to get into these colonies every few days, I've got to do something now, and I've got to do something to the point where I don't have to worry about it anymore. So what I'm going to do is pull off a swarm simulation split. So I'll show you what I have in here already. Swarm simulation split. The goal is to convince those bees that they've swarmed. Take that instinct out of them. And so what happens when bees swarm? Well, they send out a large chunk of their overall population and their old queen. So we grab a bunch of resources. Obviously, in a normal situation, in a swarm situation, these bees would be overloaded with honey as they leave prepared to establish a new home. So we can't simulate that, so I'm going to have to move food in both nectar, bee bread, and then all other resources in terms of nurse bees, eggs, larvae, capped brood, pretty much everything, because I don't want to have to mess with this box for the next while. The next time I want to mess with it is to be putting it into a 10 frame box. I don't want to have to baby it. I don't want to have to come back through here and check population and come back through here and feed and all that, because that's just creating more unnecessary work for me, whereas I can just set it out now in a method or in a way that will remove that necessity. So I've got 2 brood frames in there. The one with the wood frame has some food on it, but not nearly enough. Okay, we've got another just jam-packed brood frame here. Not a whole lot of food on it. So that's all I'm going to put in terms of brood. 2 capped frames and 1 with nothing but eggs. You remember when I was talking about making thin splits, saying that you need to really pay attention to have all developmental stages of larvae so that they can continue to regenerate throughout the split portions while they're trying to build up. That's not necessary in this kind of split because we've got a laying queen in there. So we have some eggs, but for the most part it's capped brood to just kind of boost that population, make sure that there are enough nurse bees in there to be able to take care of anything that she may lay up. And then, like I said, the goal being that I can come back through here in a week or 10 days or whenever. 2 weeks is probably likely to take that and put it into a 10 framer. And you notice I'm not moving it far away from the parent hive because obviously there's a queen in that box, and I'm moving over a lot of nurse bees, and so I don't expect any real dwindling of population from there. If that was queenless, I would either just make sure that it had a lot more nurse bees, or move it more than a couple miles away, or, you know, just always try to move the queen to the new location. So obviously this is going to be, you know, the remaining hive, and it's going to have the remaining strength and resources. So what I'm going to do to that, and this is an unnecessary step, but later on when I'm placing those cells that I was talking about, I'm going to give them a cell, just to kind of quicken that process up so that I can still get some honey off of those ladies. But once again, that's an unnecessary step. They're full of all types of brood, from eggs to capped and to, you know, young nurse bees. And they've got those swarm cups with eggs in them. So they definitely have the ability to create a queen. And to be honest, they might tear the cell down that I give them. If that happens, it's no big deal, because, like I said, they have the ability to create a queen, and they will probably end up with a queen. It would just take a little bit longer in that case. So now I'm going to go food searching. A little bit of open nectar. Not a whole lot though. Same thing there. I'm getting stung on my arm. Okay, this is pretty heavy frame. It doesn't look the greatest, but it's got at least 3 or 4 pounds of nectar slash honey in there. Now, if I could find a frame with some bee bread on it and some nectar as well, that would be about ideal. I need to repack and light that smoker. It's just solid brood. Solid brood. Brood, brood, more food, a little bit of bee bread. Alright, I'm just going to give them this because I don't want to have to dig into that bottom box, and I'm going to put a little bit of pollen sub on top because this is mostly nectar. Alright, and then that's how it looks. It'll be filled out quite a lot more over the next couple of days because of all those dark capped brood frames. So, and I mean, that could be ready for sale, but I'm not in the business of selling my overwintered queens. I am in the business of selling daughters of overwintered queens, so this one will stay with me. But if you're doing this and doing it in your own apiary, you could consider that for sale right now. So that's how nukes are supposed to look. 3 solid brood frames, a couple of good looking honey frames, and enough bees to take care of anything that may be going on inside. So I've got to grab frames for that, relight that, and move on with the next shaking and inspecting and all that. My initial intention for this hive was to add a honey box to the top. I'm obviously not going to do that right now because they have some work to do now before they're going to be storing surplus honey. But I'll be right back with those extra frames. Okay, so write a note on the side of it saying swarm prep, so that at some point between now and the next week, or now and 7 days from now, I can go back through just to make sure that they didn't continue with the development of those swarm cups. I don't expect them to, because we caught it so early. I mean, they were still just eggs, and we took so much from them. They've now got basically one box and a complete empty situation on the top. So I don't expect them to continue development of those cups, but if they do, I will see in a week. And then if that's the case, they probably also didn't accept the cell that I'm going to give them later. So that'll be a different set of challenges to overcome. But I don't expect them to do that, and I do expect them to take the cell. So we'll see. In beekeeping, it doesn't always end up working out to what you expect to happen. But we try to stack the odds in our favor as best we can. So, alright. Thanks for watching. Get out there and split your bees before they swarm into the trees. And that's a new poem straight directly from Brett Cosmo. Thanks for watching. See ya.